How many more loads you gonna bring over to him?
7 o'clock, so it's
Paying
the-
cash, I hope quite a few.
Actually, it's 7:03, but it's the June 20th meeting of the Tufton Borough Planning Board. Before we get started, does anybody have any questions for the planning board? General planning board items? Nothing? All right, great. Approval of the minutes. Anybody see anything that need to be changed? They look good to me.
I'm not sure.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, first up, scheduled appointments is a continuation from, what was the date of that meeting?
5/16.
6/6, right? Oh, no.
6/6.
6/4, wasn't
No,
it?
well, we continued it
6/6.
from
6/6.
6/6, I thought.
No, it was the last one in May. We tried for 6/6, but I didn't get
Then
the
you
AOT.
skipped it.
Oh,
Skip
you asked for a
one, yeah.
Like
So it
continuation.
was
7.
5/16.
So then
Yes, sir.
5/16.
Yep.
Continuation from the 5/16 meeting, which was the Michael
Yeah.
and Lisa Carlton Trust, tax map 32-2-5, site plan review, excavation operation. I think the only thing we were waiting for was an AOT. Brian, did the AOT come back with anything substantially different?
Nothing substantially different, other than breaking the project into 2 phases.
Okay, do you want to just run through that quick?
Sure. I'll use this as an easel. This would be the completed gravel pit. It's years away from that ever happening. It's a 9-acre project site. It's an existing gravel pit being reopened and expanded. The phasing occurs because of this ridge between the Carltons and the Sargents, which is also an active gravel pit. Phase 1 will allow Mike to excavate to his property line and build his 2-to-1 slopes from there. And phase 2 would be allow him to tie into the Sargent's floor. But the state put a condition there that phase 2 can't be commenced until the Sargents inquire about an AOT permit on their behalf, whether or not they need one. That was pretty much it. Phase 1 alone is still years of excavation before that occurs. So I have a copy of that for you. The other condition or change they had was they wanted a construction berm changed, which was like on sheet 6, and turned a 50-foot driveway into a 75-foot long driveway with a called stabilization entrance.
Just show us real quick what that entails, right?
At the exit to the pit, they had to put in a, what they call an outlet structure, so it shakes tires, so the tires get cleaned of dirt and sediments.
Wow.
It's like riprap. It's just using
Yeah,
riprap.
it's 3-inch stone.
It's a scrubber pad.
Brian, does DOT need to be notified of any
DOT
changes?
has permitted this, or did the change of use permit already.
Wonderful.
Yep. So last meeting, you accepted us as complete and accepted 2 waivers. The waivers being allowing a 5-foot contour interval, which this plan is, rather than 2-foot, because it would just be a black mass. And the second waiver is that parking and loading need not be delineated.
Yep.
So we would like to say we're ready for approval if you don't have any concerns.
Does anybody have any concerns? The public session is still open, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Any member of the public have anything to add or questions? Can I have a motion to close the public session?
I make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
This one's pretty straightforward. Only thing we have to do is get that list of the standard.
Right. Right on top of the.
Oh, right here.
That's-
Oh, yes, thank you. Okay, every gravel pit we've done has gotten the same conditions. So I would like to have a motion that we approve the site plan for the Carlton Trust with 5 conditions. The applicant shall comply with RSA 155E. The site plan shall include a note that this approval does not provide for any alleviation of any required state permits for purposes of sand and gravel operation, or grandfather any gravel pit activities that are outside of the normal gravel pit excavation operations. Hours of operation shall be Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. through 5 p.m., and Saturday, 7 a.m. through 12 p.m. We do not need the condition of the blazing, because this is not a grandfathering pit operation. This is a fully permitted, go for it, gravel pit, for lack of a better word. We do not need photographic inventory on this one either. And elevations are already marked, so really the only conditions we have are the one with, shall comply with RSA 155E and the hours of operation.
And the last one that I wrote in writing.
Oh yes, the approval is subject to receipt and conditions of all federal, state, and local permits.
Did you say add a note to the plan? Because I would like to avoid that if possible, being a 9-page plan
I
set.
can understand why you would be concerned about that.
I'm sure Mr. Carlson would write a
Yeah.
letter saying that he understands the condition and would comply.
Yep,
And we would do that 9 times for you if you wanted us to.
I think we would, yep. Where was that noted here? All right, we will not put it as a note on the plan, just as a condition of approval, and that will be in the file with it,
Okay, thank you.
because I know Mylar is expensive. All right. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thank you. So these are your 4 plan
So-
sets.
Question.
Yep.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I'll just give you the latest plans.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I got a couple of ledger size in there for you, too.
So I get an excavation number from Jack,
Yep.
And
Jack, fill out the application.
file intent, and
Dig dirt.
build a 75-foot riprap entrance and sell dirt.
Yep.
Cool.
Dirt, stumps, rocks, the goings and comings of commerce.
Yeah,
Have fun.
cool.
No boats, though. Boats.
Are you selling in the used car business now?
Used truck business.
Oh, I see. Well, winter's coming.
Well, I'm behind 4 payments, I figured I better get rid of it.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you very much.
That was the only application we had tonight. There's nothing under action items. For discussion items, we had the LRPC master plan update. Leanne and I have had some conversations with the LRPC, and we actually are making some headway. And Leanne, you wanna kind of give an update of where we're at?
Sure. So Matt and I met with Susan Slack a week ago Monday. We reviewed the land use chapter map, and Matt and I delineated some additional areas for potential zoning changes. She's going to take that back. Her and I have reviewed the chapter a little bit as far as like tables and updating the tables that are in there. Matt suggested a couple be deleted. So I got some information from Jack. She's waiting on information from me to update some numbers, and she's waiting on information from the Conservation Commission. So at least we're finally starting to move in a forward direction. She did have, which I have not discussed with you yet, Matt, but I was just reviewing the scope of services because the current contract expires at the end of the month, June 30th, and so I wanted a new one before it expired. However, I have a couple questions about the billing part of it, so I'm not going to ask for your signature. We're also changing the signature from the Board of Selectmen to the Planning Board, because the contract is really with the Planning Board, and it just puts an extra stumbling block or obstacle trying to get things expedited. So we're gonna have an agreement between the board and LRPC. We'll extend the contract. Right now, it's been extended to September 30th. So it's moving, finally. It's moving. I received information from the library for the update, and Matt reached out to Caleb, and now that's in my court now. So I have to get back in touch with Caleb on that. So we're finally moving, which is nice.
Some of the zoning changes we were looking at were just things that we had talked about and input, from the surveys that were sent out. Some of it was just making some common sense adjustments. Areas around like Melvin Village, Center Tufton Borough, Four Corners, that are more closely housed, switching from low density residential or open space forestry to medium density residential, since they're already essentially medium density residential.
Not being here since February, I read some of the emails going back and forth. There's a lot of this stuff recommended. How far back are we talking about? 2000.
What do you mean? How far back we're talking about?
Some of the changes that were asked for here that we're doing.
Some,
Where do they come? Where do the changes? How do they come about?
some of these were attempted 10 or 15 years ago.
Yeah, I saw it back to 2005.
Yep. And back then it was done as village districting.
Yeah.
Didn't go well. So.
Well, the thing, when I look at this, some of the concerns I would have is that, and I don't think you're going to do this because you see some of the transactions, but going from, low density to neighborhood business, that's, to me, is a drastic type. Wow. I would think that people would be quite concerned with that live in that low density residential. So, some of the other things, you're going from, in Melvin, you're going up High Street now to make that neighborhood business. Am I correct in assuming that? I think it was in here.
Was this way back? Or?
No, this was the email.
Oh,
This was the
yeah.
email I was
Okay.
looking at. It was just going from, if you're extending neighborhood business in Melvin from its current High Street to West Harvard Lane and north up, River Heights, okay, road. So River Heights
It's
Road.
on High Street.
Yeah,
It's right.
yeah.
Now, we weren't looking at making any change on that in Melvin.
So the Melvin Village, we were extending the depth.
The only thing we were looking at doing was going from 300 feet to 500 feet.
Okay,
And the reason for that is that because with our site plan review regulations, to meet all the drainage requirements that you have to have.
okay, because this just said, in north to River Heights Road to a maximum of 500 feet, changing some of the medium density residential to neighborhood business.
Oh, that would be if you went from 300 feet to 500 feet.
Okay, so 500 feet takes you from 109 up
Five.
High Street,
Yep.
almost to River.
No.
I mean, up High Street, almost to River, probably
No.
almost to River Heights
That's
Road.
not 500 feet.
No, that's 500 feet. So if you're like,
Yeah, you're probably right.
if you're looking at the marina's showroom,
Yeah,
the parking lot behind,
The
where
marina.
the showroom, the parking lot that's about 50 feet behind, where the
Yeah,
pond is,
that's town.
that's 300 feet from 109.
mhm.
So 500 feet would be,
201.
I guess my question, does it affect
Well, yes.
the people on, that's High Street, that goes up towards, where the dam
River
is?
Heights.
Yeah, River.
Right.
So does it affect anybody in there at this point?
no.
It doesn't affect.
You got four residences right there on High Street,
Right,
Right.
on that left side going
right,
in.
exactly.
And probably each one of them they probably average 100 feet of frontage, 120 or something.
Yeah,
no.
And that's where.
those are the ones that
that's when
actually
you
I'm
get
thinking about,
the
are
last
they being
one is
affected at
more,
all by this
Just
particular
before
change?
River Heights, but.
Yeah,
Isn't
no.
there
There's
one
a
on the
pond
right?
there too.
Okay.
Yeah, there's only
Yeah.
one there, but she doesn't have,
She has no land,
yeah, she's got,
Okay.
almost just
I
the
don't think-
footprint of the house.
I think
Right.
the NHB, and I thought the NHB right there ends at the river, but I could be wrong. Neighborhood business.
well, you said that in that thing, didn't it say that they wanted to go from High Street all the way up to Harvest Lane?
They went from and from its current High Street west to Harvest Lane, okay, and north to River Heights Road, to a maximum depth of 500 feet.
No, we,
Right, can I just interject here?
sure.
Yeah.
So keep in mind, that was a follow-up email
Yeah.
from Susan to Matt and I regarding our meeting. It doesn't mean that she got everything correct. I put my responses in, and I asked Matt to provide input, because I am not a Tufton Borough resident, and I don't claim to know exactly where these roads are. So I know he has much better
No,
knowledge.
I understand.
And I wanted him to put input, so what is here, yes, it's in black and white, but it's still part of the discussion.
Okay.
And
So-
she's,
Yeah, so right now, 109A, 109 split, and then it's either High Street or the Melbourne River, I can't remember which one is the NHB zone. Right now, the NHB runs 300 feet off of Route 109. One of the problems everyone runs into, or anyone runs into, is because of all the drainage that you put in, if you develop a full site plan, and because the soils in Melbourne are clay and it slopes down to the road and stuff like that, it doesn't leave enough room by the time you put in all your drainage and stuff nowadays to let you do much, with it. So instead of 300 feet, add it's actually 320 feet. It would add 200 more feet behind it, which would give you a total of 500 feet off the road. And then the second proposal was to take, there's another NH neighborhood business zone down here, which is the
Center Tufton Borough.
Center Tufton Borough.
Back to Curtis up to.
Yeah, and to take that, and that's kind of an irregular shape because they went by lots and stuff like that. So it goes, some of it goes in, I don't know, 800 feet. Do the same thing, 500 feet off the road, so 109, that's 109A. So it would become a 500-foot corridor that's NHB rather than this kind of convoluted shape. And then part of that was to take that NHB and extend it actually down to Spiderweb Gardens. See, these are the town offices and
Dame Road, I think we agreed, right?
Dame Road.
Dame Road is the
Cut.
boundary
So,
to make it
Cause you
clean.
got skip coat down there and.
So that stops just past Spiderweb, it doesn't go to Dane.
there's actually
Right
more,
at Dame, I think, was gonna be the outer boundary
yeah,
of the extension.
and
Oh,
there's
that's to
actually,
go to a public meeting.
yeah, it's all got, I mean,
Yes, right.
This was.
These are recommendations, they'll be presented,
Ideas.
So
they
go-
have to be approved.
They go to public meetings. all
Yeah,
those
and that was the
recommendations.
whole point of,
Yeah.
it's been, we've gotten so far off track. The whole
We
point
ha-
was to get back on track.
Yeah,
And then she's going to put what we said in our meeting, she'll go back and forth with Matt and I for the next couple months, and she's gonna present something to the board. We're gonna have a draft first before it even hits the public,
yeah.
And-
so that we can hammer out whether or not you
And it-
even want
okay.
that.
So if I'm not mistaken, those changes have to go to town meeting too.
Oh, yeah.
Not
Oh,
just,
yeah.
not just
Oh, yeah.
to.
So there's a long
Yeah,
way to,
well,
I assume
that's
that is, yeah.
That's what we
There's,
said.
the other thing we were looking at doing, and I'm gonna use Four Corners as an example,
Yeah.
it's Four
There you go.
Corners. So, Four Corners, a lot like Melbourne, is a bunch of little houses that are, stacked up in a village type thing, on top of each other.
Yep.
So right now, it's low-density residential, I think, even though
Right.
it's a tighter, so it's to take that and basically, create a square in that area and make it, medium density residential. And that it already is medium density, it's beyond medium density residential. So instead of having,
What it does is it provides additional flexibility for somebody that wants to come in and do something new in that area that's already real dense.
Right.
Right?
and to
I
be
mean, what's
honest,
there is there, that's, you don't have to rip it down just because it's
Well, I
there.
think the people that would have frontage there could subdivide further.
probably not a lot of them up there.
Most of those lots up there are, what are they, 1 acre, or they're
1 acre,
150, 100, 200 feet of frontage, many of them, maybe they go way back, but.
But there are, my father lives on a development off of Four Corners on Schoolhouse Road.
Yeah.
You don't realize it's there, but there's a development there. There was obviously the other development that they were gonna put in, which they didn't, but they've broken it up into lots and things like that. If you go down over the hill towards Ossipee, you have, what's the development that went bankrupt that's all built out?
On Soggy Down Farm.
Soggy Down,
I don't know
right.
if they,
But there's another one off of there. It's on-
It was one of the phases of zoning.
Right, that's one, another phase, no.
So the thought is to
Not
take
Canaan Valley.
areas like that, or Melvin, or this down here, that are already basically villages, and just change them to medium density residential, so you can continue to have what you have. Years ago, when they were gonna do this as village districting, which is actually a better way to do it, it basically said, you create an inventory of what exists there for setbacks and stuff like that, and you put a village district overlay over it. And that tightens up the, you can, if everybody else has a 5-foot setback, it lets you do a 5-foot setback, you're basically recreating it. And, but it was complicated, people didn't understand it, and, I mean, people were getting screamed at planning board meetings.
It was very controversial.
This
Well,
just keeps it-
and in the area, other communities that have village districts, it's always, it's like one more stone you're tripping over to try and do something
Yeah,
with your property.
Yeah.
You think about North Wolfboro and the problems they've had up there, with the
Yeah,
people trying to build on their land, and basically the North Wolfboro Village District, just acts as everything, and it's like,
It's 200 feet back in there, off of North Wolfboro Road.
Yeah.
so basically it keeps
So
what's
that got
grandfathered
axed.
there, grandfathered.
Yeah, I did.
You don't get involved and try to figure out the 5-foot setbacks.
No.
Whatever you have, you have.
yeah, whatever they've got there already, they have. All we would be looking at doing is taking an area that is already, smaller lots,
right.
and saying,
But with the change in zoning, all right, to use your example, we have close setback to the road, and you got somebody that wants to build in character to that. You can still do that, you just have to go to ZBA.
yes,
So it's not impossible to do.
no. And to be honest with you, if I was on the ZBA and somebody said, hey, I want to do it on a tight setback because it's more in character with the neighborhood, I'd find a way to.
Right.
I would too.
You're not on the ZBA.
No.
So this stuff's been in the works a long time.
So, I mean, a lot of this stuff's been kicked around for years.
Yeah, okay.
To me, it's pretty obvious when you have a village like here or there or Four Corners, why not have a medium density residential rather than open space forestry or anything else? I mean,
Yeah.
It's in character with that. The commercial stuff, I mean, the 500 feet down here makes more sense to me than what they have, which is if you look at it on a zoning map, it's kind of, it followed lot lines and it's kind of irregular. This is the way most people do it, most towns do it, is they do a corridor, Ossipee, Miltonboro, they just have 500 feet off the road, or 700 feet, or whatever it is. And then extending from 300 feet to 500 feet there is just, it's kind of the room you need. It's what Miltonboro uses.
Years ago, didn't that inhibit some people from doing what they want to do because of the 300 feet restriction?
I
I
don't
think I remember some way back.
think there's been many commercial applications.
No, there hasn't. I'm not saying many, but I remember a discussion, hearing a discussion on someplace they couldn't do it because of its 300 feet setback.
Could be. The neighborhood business zone doesn't actually have a lot of, the list of businesses you can have in that isn't very long.
That's right.
It's not. The other thing we talked about was, one of the things that was brought up on the survey was elder care. And the easiest way it looked like to approach that was to just have a zoning change where like assisted living facilities were allowed by special exception in all zones. Because who cares if it's assisted living facilities in an open space forestry, medium density residential, NHB, or, I had one across the street from my house.
That's great.
There's-
Good. No, it's a good idea. I think that, when I looked at that, I said,
There's no late night bonfires and drinking, right?
No, we don't run into that.
it's a one cocktail night, and that's it, you're out.
But,
Yeah.
I mean, even if they wanted to build something like somebody wanted to build like a Sugar Hill, I mean, why wouldn't we want them to do that? I mean, certainly have a lot
Those
of
are quiet and
huge
their
jobs.
income.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that, the easiest way to do that is just add it as a special exception.
And we don't have anything in town like that at all, and not like Sugar Hill, but other than just single, like we're across the street from you and,
Yeah.
okay, like the Taylor community has something in Moultmore on 171,
Yep.
as well as in Wolfboro. I mean, I could,
It'd
it'd be
be
nice to
great
have
if
something.
Suffenborough had, because I
Yeah.
mean, I think there's a lot of people here who would prefer to stay in their older years.
Well, that's been a subject of mine a little bit with the attorneys I've talked to about elderly care, and so that's
Right.
come up.
Right now, there is none in
Yeah.
Suffenborough, so. And it's not listed on the table of uses, therefore if somebody wanted to get, somebody came today and wanted to build a Sugar Hill or something smaller, 20 apartments, they would have to go and get a variance in order to do it. So.
Okay.
All right, what else did we talk about?
Good, well, thank you for that.
Some of the tables we were looking at deleting were things like percentages of different types of hardwoods and things that
Oh,
look
that's
like.
in the conservation one too.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
they
it-
were repetitive areas, so we
Yeah.
deleted those tables.
Yeah.
And it was some stuff like that, and it was stuff that it would be very time consuming and difficult to redo it.
Mhm.
You'd have to do a forest inventory, so.
Mhm.
And we're also gonna update the other tables, like the number of building permits, the number of subdivisions, all that stuff, we're gonna do from 2006 to 2018.
Mhm.
Instead of the 10-year block that it should have been, because this should have been done technically 2 years ago. So we're gonna extend it so that when this finally gets adopted, it'll be 10 years out instead of 8 years out.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So, yep, so we're compiling that information.
That was really it. Susan seems to be chugging away now.
She's chugging away, and we have scheduled phone appointments scheduled like every week, well, right now it was this past week I talked to her. We're gonna talk next week after the commission meets on Monday, hoping to have some answers, and then we have the public hearing scheduled. We have the date that we're gonna get the draft review for the board. So we're gonna hold that.
You say you have a date, tentative date for the public hearing?
Yes, the tentative date is September something. So the draft chapter of facilities and services will be between August 15th and September 5th. Public forum, not the public hearing, I apologize.
Yeah.
Public forum on future land use will be held on September 5th. 2 maps will be provided, one showing current zoning district boundaries, natural resources and recreation points, and one showing proposed zoning district boundaries. And then we'll have another public forum. She'll change whatever needs to be changed from that public forum, and we'll go back again on September 19th. So we have several tandem tracks going right now on facilities, land use, zoning. So it's gonna be a very busy couple months. Yay.
So you're planning to have that first one in conjunction with the first planning board meeting in,
Yeah, we're trying to
Okay.
stay on the same dates as the planning board meetings, so we don't have extra meetings.
thank you.
Especially during budget season.
Meetings.
Hmm?
You like meetings?
I love meetings.
Oh, boy. So,
Any questions on that?
Good, sounds
I mean,
good.
she'll draw
Make
up
it
a
headway.
proposal and she'll send it, we'll send it around. And then forums and public town meeting and all that great stuff. Educational workshop on municipal wastewater systems, July 11th. Good stuff.
Are we discussing the recruitment of planning board members?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. Recruitment of planning board members.
Anybody have any ideas?
Steve?
Good evening.
so
You're here anyway.
just so everybody knows, I put that I did that, I put that on the agenda because Laureen
Good idea.
said she couldn't come, and we are literally at 7. So if I don't have a quorum during certain periods, like Tony is usually gone a couple months, I think, or a month and a half worth of meetings every winter. Right?
You're planning my vacation, well, yeah.
Have-
This year
During
was
the winter,
January, yeah.
and-
Have
this
you
year
heard
was January.
anything from John Cameron forever? Because he was gonna hang around and maybe come when he could, but
Yeah, can I discuss that with you? after?
sure,
I
yeah,
don't,
that's fine.
yeah.
Steve, you wouldn't consider?
No,
So anyways, I just am
Tell Rob
trying to
that I
be
asked
proactive
Yep,
so that
Okay.
we're not scrambling and canceling meetings because of the lack of quorum.
right.
So, because that's
Good.
really kind of a pain, especially if we
No,
have
I-
applications.
I've actively been pursuing different people here and there, and, you know, with,
Just wanted to bring it up
Yeah.
so we could talk about it.
I think it's a good subject to bring up. We really do need to,
We could use a couple alternates for sure.
yeah.
And Lorene, not only Tony, I don't mean to put you on the spot, Tony, but Lorene takes, she's gone
Yeah,
about
she's
2
gone down to
months
North Carolina.
between like
Yeah, right,
January
it's true.
or February.
It's
So
true. I don't know what.
we're
my
always
plans
gonna
are.
be down one, and then if someone else is sick,
Mhm.
then we're in trouble. So, I'm just, I don't know, and we could maybe put an ad in the paper? I mean, do you do that with other boards? Do you ever advertise for positions?
I don't, not that I remember. Wolfboro does, I know, but.
I know, that's what made me
yeah,
think of it,
yeah.
that doesn't mean it's,
But we do post from time to time, like on the website,
Well, that's easy to
call
do.
for,
Yeah, it's easy.
for board, interest in the board, yep.
Can you make that happen?
I can.
Wonderful. All right, so July 11th, we have a wonderful educational workshop on municipal wastewater systems. We are going to be dealing with this a lot in the future.
Yeah, got that right.
Yeah.
So, guess what? We all get to learn about municipal wastewater systems, what they can do for you. Tyler's pretty good. He's a very, he's a good speaker. I'm sure they'll try to make a subject that's pretty dry, somewhat interesting, so. But, think about,
I wouldn't have thought so.
yeah, think about what questions you might have for him. He's neutral.
Mm.
third
Yeah,
party.
that'd be a good meeting,
Yeah.
so. And
And you all remember that is the week that I'm away.
Yep.
We're away
Well,
that week,
we have,
a video conference with us or
we
something?
No.
have sent an invitation to the selectmen as well,
Right,
and I would strongly encourage the other selectmen to attend.
absolutely. I'm sorry it's gonna
And
be one
conservation
of them.
commission.
And conservation.
Yep,
That, they mentioned that they had a meeting with
Mm.
with Mike Carlton that came in.
Yep.
And they talked about this stuff, these septic systems, okay?
Yep.
Which is actually pretty interesting.
Mhm.
These things are really advanced. Something we should discuss at some point. Because these are standalone, individual home, total systems that, the effluent that goes out is clear as water coming out of your well when they're done with it. No solids, no. It's pretty advanced, and I think that when we look at our town with all the lakes we have and the shore frontage we have, this is not a
And the
bad way to go.
old septic systems that are all.
Well, that's another issue too.
Yeah.
I can tell you of a lot of people I know that they think they have systems, but they don't have systems.
Oh, yeah.
So, the leach field, well, it's working great, it's 40 years old, it's long gone. So, there's a lot of that going on, as well as on the islands. I mean, it's heavier out there, but there's a lot of it still going on, so I don't know if we could look at, put this on the agenda down the road after that meeting, maybe to talk about what we've all learned.
I think the problem with septics is nobody's gonna replace one for fun unless they got it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That's it.
Prior to 67, we don't
Back
know
to
what's in the
different.
ground.
Really? I was gonna say, has anyone ever called you and said, you know what, my septic's getting old, I think I'm just gonna replace it?
Get one of those now and then, but we did our own camp, brand new system without having to.
Yep.
Did that. We're up next to the road. But one of the issues you have in those situations is the state doesn't want to help you at all. So for example, ours, we don't know what's coming, but we wanted to design a 5-bedroom system. It's a 4-bedroom camp. Wanted to design a 5-bedroom system in case we wanted to put a bedroom in the garage or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Nope. Can't do that.
Not unless you're.
Has to be a 4-bedroom design.
What happens if you put the 5th bedroom on before you put the new system in?
Well, then, see, that was the whole kicker. Then you have to go through shoreline protection, you have to do all that permitting. I have to come to the Tufton Borough code officer and the zoning board and all that stuff to add on and retrofit your shorefront property. So you have to go back to the 4, even though we over-designed the 4 to alleviate a
That has to
5,
do with
because it didn't cost me any
shorefront.
money to make it a 5 versus a 4, really, you know, I mean, realistically. So I'm doing one right now off of Merrill Lake that I guess hasn't been adequate, maybe, so, but nobody told them they had to do it. They just wanted to do it for peace of mind.
I think it's safe to say that usually the cause for replacing one is.
When they can't use it.
Failure.
It's failure.
And the 12
Yeah.
went to a
No, you're exactly correct,
small
90% of the time, you're correct.
That's what gets your attention.
Why mess with it if it's
The
working?
water doesn't go down.
Don't open the hood of the car if you don't have to.
So, but I mean, that's the way it is everywhere, and I mean, there's not really.
But the biggest issue is 90% of the places on the lake that have a inadequate, or they don't even have to be on the lake, inadequate septic system it was only an 8-week camp when it was built,
Yeah.
52 years ago.
Seasonal.
Right.
And now, all of a sudden, we've got it fixed up and we're there 8 months, 9 months, maybe even 12. And
It's true.
so that's where the transition changed, I believe.
I think that's accurate.
Well, and the other thing is, once the state started
Permitting.
permitting the systems, then you didn't get any of these systems that are just designed for a few weeks a year.
Right.
Because
Right, everything's
Yeah.
designed for 365
Right,
days.
That's exactly right. So if you have a seasonal property that's got a 3-bedroom septic and you have a bunch of people there for a few weeks, you're not overloading it.
Right.
But continuous use over a long period of time is,
You
I don't
can,
know that the septics, I don't know that failing septics are probably as big of a problem as far as pollution into the lake as the fertilizers.
or fertilizers.
Yeah.
Well,
well,
I don't know, they might be fairly equal. I
Maybe-
mean, you're putting a lot of nitrogen from your septic systems into the lake.
Yeah.
If you've got a 40-year-old system, it finds the path of least resistance. It has a blowout, you don't see it, it's underground. And it will go like this, and then right into the lake. And you
I guess what I'd say is the fertilizer has a more immediate impact. You put it on the lawn and it runs right in the lake. And it's something that's much easier to
Detect.
correct,
Oh,
okay?
yeah, that's correct.
Shut the
Just stop.
irrigation off.
Just stop putting the fertilizer on it and it stops
Putting
running
grass
into the
down
lake.
by
Yeah.
the lake.
Yeah, those are the things on the waterfront like that, it's after that.
And how many people look at the irrigation that comes out of the
We
lake
talk-
and back into it?
Yeah. How many people we talk to that say, when we talk about low impact on the lake, you know, and they're bringing fertilizer company in, True Green or whatever, they say, well, they know all the right stuff to do, so, you know, that's their responsibility. Well, they're in the business of selling fertilizer. Okay, so,
Trust me, you're right. I mean,
so, you know,
If your lawn's not green, you're not gonna pay them.
well, that's right. And consequently, you might think you're being real friendly to the lake because you want to use the right stuff, but I think it's more a matter of having less green lawn and other plantings in
There's a way
there.
of greening lawns without nitrogen.
And taking an approach that doesn't try and turn everything into putting green.
So, and raise your pH level of calcium, much safer. And the lawn would like it much better, it grows pretty good.
It'd be interesting to find out the pH of the lake 30 years ago and today.
I did.
We have that information.
I'll tell you that
A lot of water samples.
I can tell you that as far visually, the lake is cleaner today
I agree with you.
than it was 20 years ago.
I think it's starting to go back the other way.
I agree with you.
And I'll tell you, I mean, one of the biggest reasons it is because the old two-stroke outboards, you know, that
Oh, yeah.
are really gone. Now it's modern four strokes. I mean, when I was a kid in the marina, you know, all spring, the marina was covered with a sheen of
Well,
oil.
Thin
Oh, yeah,
film oil,
shiny.
yeah, a little
From the two-stroke.
pretty rainbow on the water,
and
yeah, all the
that
time.
was every marina. I mean, but-
Yeah.
If you have an old boathouse, you can still walk into it and smell it oil.
Yeah,
Sure.
you know,
You
it's,
really do.
It's
So,
that oil, and now, I mean, there's virtually nothing, because they're just so clean compared to what they used to be.
Oh, the water is still clear. I mean,
I did a
There's
turn
not
tables
much life in the
college
lake, though. I mean,
in the
remember,
70s on this
when I
lake.
was growing
Yeah.
up here,
And right after
there were like
the
tons
shoreline
of fish
protection
and crayfish
It
and
was pretty
things
exciting.
around,
But the
and
thing
it's
is,
not
they
there.
don't
There's a
follow
lot of
it up.
algae
I think
and
it's
crap
still
like
there,
that.
if you look for it.
Not the way it was.
Well,
like you to do a study on the, talking about the plant life in the lake, et cetera, is the lake does not hibernate anymore because there's 8 million aquatherms and
You know, bubblers and
bubblers and stuff around the lake, so it's constantly giving oxygen all winter long. In the past, it used to freeze over,
Yep.
kind of like the little pond right out there that smells in the springtime when it finally opens back up.
Yep.
Yeah,
But the lake used to freeze over,
Yep.
and it doesn't freeze over now because everybody's got that stuff going. And I personally think that that has a lot to do with a change in the lake,
You know,
whether it be plant life or
I
what.
don't disagree with you. I think that those aquatherms, because, I mean, I don't think one here or there really mattered that much, but
Right.
now, I mean, it seems like everybody's got an aquatherm.
Yep.
And it's amazing.
So I think
I mean,
that's a big,
myself included, we have them, but, you know, the ones in Melbourne, you know, down there, because the water's so shallow, will open up a very small area, you know, 15 feet across. And then if you go up to Ambrose Cove, where the water's 20 feet deep, you know, one of them will open up 150 feet across, because it, you know, pulls up that one water
Sure.
at the bottom. So. But yeah, if you look in the areas where those are running, you see there's usually like a brownish coating in the spring all over the bottom and all this stuff.
Silk.
Yeah, it only-
Silk coating.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
only
That's what it
lasts
is.
for, it's
You never
gone
had that.
for a week or two, but.
In 1980, you wouldn't, 70s, late 70s, you wouldn't see that. You don't see crayfish. You don't see,
Right, exactly.
you know.
That's what I'm saying, that there's a lot more algae where I grew up, but there also is that squishy stuff that goes between your toes of silt, and then there are those long
dog poop.
reed. Haven't you ever walked on that in the
Oh,
bottom of in the bottom of the lake? You know, it used to be completely just plain rocks.
I don't think there's as many
But
clams in the
then,
No.
yeah, the mussels aren't there, and there are these
mussel.
reeds.
I mean, you had blooms last year in Winter Harbor
Right.
on the Wolport
Right.
side.
That's right.
Never had blooms. And you can actually drive right out, stop and see the bloom and look right at the shoreline, and you can see that that is the problem right there. You see a lawn coming right down, green as can be, blooming away, so. You have to,
The lake used to change, when we were on the lake all the time, in the spring of the year, your wake behind the barges and stuff was always clear. And by fall, it was a brown, could see it change. Clean itself up by spring again, you know, type of deal, but
20 Mile Bay is still clear.
Yeah.
No blooms.
well, septic's, that meeting will be an interesting meeting, because, and most of those guys are pretty good. You know, I dealt with a lot of the state guys, and they'll come in and try to help you do things, and I find them helpful. But I think if a town wanted to take a really different tact at it, they can override the state if they wanted to and try to enforce different things, but it's a hard thing, really hard.
I think we should, let's do this one, you know, with Tyler, and then I think we should give Midge Locker at the ES a call, see if he'll come in. You know, he's the one who's in charge of, like, any groundwater discharge he's in charge of. But, you know, he's in charge of Wolf Road, all the oversight of that, and, you know, I think he'll come in. And I mean, he knows all about it, so.
Well, one of the things that I think is good for us to educate ourselves about it, and it's good to recognize that we have some systems out there that are less than what they ought to be and could be improved. But we also ought to look at our own places, because, somebody can say, I just got this little place here, and this doesn't make much of a difference, but every little place that gets cleaned up makes a difference in the aggregate, and let's not be like.
We hope it does.
Yeah, let's not be like the politicians that say, I'm gonna make a rule that you're gonna have to follow, but don't bring it to me.
I got a brand new system, so.
There you go,
Yeah.
good.
Ours is only a couple of years old.
Yep.
I got that real technical stuff they put in it too. All the stuff everybody says, oh, that's gonna fail, it's shorter time than the other stuff, but
The filters,
it's like these stuffs that we talked about with conservation, these little systems here. If Wolport had those on all their town properties, if they had, that are attached to their city septic, if they had one of these guys attached to every house, that effluent would go into the city septic, clear as can be, and it would go down to their plant, and it would take, by the time it hit the hills where they are out here above us, it'd be like almost drinking water. It's amazing.
Well, Dave Ford had a jar of that came out of the system.
He
Well,
offered
clear
it
to
to
me.
he offered it to you,
Yeah,
so
I
you
know.
want to take a drink.
I know.
I don't think so.
Well, he had his and he has Tony's,
Yeah.
But there is good stuff.
I don't know, I mean, my system is 30 years old, works fine, I have it tested, I have a pump, I do everything right. I'm concerned about it as well. What do I do?
Yeah.
Replace it if it's nothing wrong with it?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I had, my pump went out last
stone and
year.
pipe?
it's chambered.
Oh, yeah.
All
Concrete
gravel,
chambers.
concrete,
Yep.
the whole thing, I mean,
Yep.
that's the last one that probably Dennis Gill put in right.
Mine's stone and pipe.
Yeah, I still think that the concrete chambered and the stone and pipe are the best ones.
They are.
And they
These
seem
new filters that we put in the ground,
I wouldn't be, if I had to put a new
They went
system
away
in, I
from
wouldn't
stone
use
pipe
it.
because it takes up too much.
But I had to, my
space.
pump went out,
But
30 years
they're
old.
Next
So,
year, they're gonna make
Had that
it, design
replaced this
those
year, and of course they were down on the
vials
tank,
20% bigger.
poked around, and the rest of the system, all looked good.
But most of the concrete tanks we have today, they're not necessarily sealed either. So they get groundwater into them, they fill, they go off, and they still allow solids to escape back to the field. And that's what kills the new environmental
That's
systems,
what's-
is
yeah.
that. They've got a separate, if I knew this when I did my system, I would have put one of these in on, you can put these right in front of your current system. And it does the filtration for it, and once a year you pull out the filters, they hose them down and clean them, put them back in. It's about a 20-minute deal, and you're off filter. But in some of these other systems they have, these go their total systems, you don't even need to pump your tank for 10 to 12, 14 years. You don't have to touch it, it just does its thing. The idea is to let it do its thing. Many people do pump too often, and they kill them.
Oh, that's what Dave told me at the time when I came up. I was pumping it too often. He said, you gotta give it a chance to breathe, to create bacteria.
Yeah, it takes time for it to creep.
Yeah. So I do it every 2 years. I don't know if that's overkill or not, but I just feel
Seems like
comfortable.
Well, it depends on the size of your tank, and there's only 2 of you living there, so
Yeah,
Yeah,
Totally killed.
all
my
that,
guess is it's overkill for the two of you to do it every 2 years, yeah.
yeah.
plus it's only a 1,000-gallon tank.
It's a 1,000-gallon tank.
Yeah, so then maybe not.
The kids come once a year and, yeah, you're right, maybe, no, I should still, I feel comfortable every 2 years. My wife says, I don't know when it's gone. I said, when you go out the doors one morning, you start smelling it, then you know, you got a problem.
Well, any public comment, Steve? We're going public here, so.
Right.
How about an alternate, Steve?
I'm all set.
I think that's a no.
He likes his role as the watchdog,
Yes.
All right, well, in that case, thank you.
and I appreciate that you come.
I got
And,
it.
Thank you for thinking about it.
You making a
Keep
motion?
I did.
I'm
Motion to
seconding that
adjourn.
motion.
All those in favor?
I
See you on the 11th.
That'll be
won't see me.
Well, that's actually your next meeting,